Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
It's live.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
All right, greetings and welcome to Live Talk. I am your host, Arthur Jeremiah, alongside my two co-hosts, Minister Samuel.
Hey, welcome back to Live Talk.
And spiritual ambassador, Yike Ezekiel.
Peace. Great afternoon.
All right. And before we go to anything, we're going to go to our general statement and disclaimer. General statement. Live Talk is proudly powered by TBS Goodwill, Builders of the Highway Foundation, and Men of Purpose. Together, we're bringing about awareness to the everyday challenges facing individuals, communities, and our nation. We tell our stories, listen to yours, and always respect different perspectives. Want to share your voice? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com to be a guest, or if you would like to contribute to our mission, purpose, go to livetalkorl.com to give a donation. Disclaimer. Information provided during this event and others to come does not constitute the official opinion of Live Talk or its affiliate entities. It is strongly recommended that viewers seek independent expert advice regarding any topics discussed, as legal requirements differ significantly across jurisdictions and are subject to frequent changes. If you have questions or concerns, you can always email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Facebook and or Instagram at Live Talk Orlando. Welcome back. We always have to get that out of the way. Our general statement and disclaimer is very important. So how my brother's doing?
Doing great, man. It's a wonderful day. Always a part of the sunshine and happy to be with it.
Right. And my brother Yike Ezekiel.
Blissful. The brother said he's just so grateful to be able to have another day.
All right. And I would say I'm walking in my purpose. I'm always thankful for what the Most High has for me and what he has in store for me. And I pray that our family that's out there that's viewing and listening in, that you're in that same mindset. So we'll just give you a rundown of the show today. First, we're going to have the minister word of today. Right after that, we'll go to a short commercial break, and then we'll come back with our main topic. Our main topic today is the cost of image. How marketing targets black dollars. So how marketing targets black dollars. That's going to be our main topic for today. And we'll come back with another commercial break, and then we'll see what's on our brother Yike Ezekiel mind right after that. And then we'll get ready to close out with a motivational quote or reading from the host. So with no further ado, Minister, what is the word of today?
All right. Our word of today is going to be consumer, especially since we're going into this holiday season. We wanted to talk about consumer. And a consumer is defined as one that consumes, especially one that acquires goods or services for direct use or ownership, rather than for resale or use in production and manufacturing. Consumer, one that utilizes economic goods, an organization that uses a commodity or service. Consumer, a consumer is someone who buys or consumes or uses up something. And a note, an economy could not be functioning without consumers. And some synonyms are customer, user, buyer, client, and shopper. And our quote on consumer for today is, remember, to live fully, we must learn to use things and love people, and not love things and use people.
All right, consumer, our word of today. And I want to thank you, my brother, for that word of today. We're going to get deeper into this conversation. When we come back, we'll go to a quick commercial break.
What do all these people have in common besides a beautiful smile, healthy teeth, and gums? They all use Zodi toothpaste. Zodi toothpaste is made with all natural ingredients. Zodi toothpaste is fortified with moringa and baking soda. Zodi toothpaste is suds-free, making it an excellent choice for kids. All natural, fortified, and suds-free. Get yours today at noystore.com.
All right, so welcome back. Today we'll be unpacking how image, identity, and marketing shape the way Black America spends its money. So let's get started with a definition. So what is marketing? From the Cambridge Dictionary, it defines marketing as the business activity that involves finding out what consumers or what customers want, using that information to design products and services and selling them effectively. Now, if we had to narrow that down to one sentence, we will say marketing is connecting the right product with the right people at the right time and making them want it. So with that being said, our first question is going to be directed towards the minister. And minister, that question is, how have brands historically profited from the image of Black coolness and creativity?
We've always been cool, and they've always been represented from us. So it's like it is kind of always happened, but getting proper credit or compensation for it has always been lacking. Like if you look at today, wearing hoodies or the big bold logos and sneakers, I'm gonna say logos like everybody wearing LA or New York. They're all a major part of fashion, but it came from urban areas, what we call the hood. And it generates millions, if not billions of dollars, yet the hood doesn't get transformed with any of those dollars, but that it came from us, it represented us, we spend it, but we don't profit from it. And it's not just fashion, but it's the same with music and with beauty. It's like we've always been known for being cool. Like if you look back in the day, for example, with the Cadillac, the El Dorado, it was called the El Dog. The Pimps and the Players, you had Superfly. We macked out them El Dogs. It was plush on the inside. It was like you were living in a motel, but it was on wheels. Then it went from the Sedan DeVille, now they got the Escalade. So it's now you balling, but then we put 20s, you put the spinning rims and the sprue wells, and it's like once you, okay, now when you get that, you made it, so you balling. But we branded that. Even though Cadillac was a name and a brand, we branded that. And that came from us. All cultures use and want to be like that came from us. But then we don't get the credit. The hood don't get transformed. Cadillac make all that money in the community, but then it go back out to somebody else's community. And then when I'm thinking back about the sneakers, when I used to play basketball, to be on a basketball team in high school, you had to wear Converse All-Stars. Coach said, if you didn't have Converse, you're not coming on the floor. Back then, though, they was like $14.99. But we would bling them out. See, I'm from Jones, so we were orange and green as our colors. We get orange shoestrings, we get green shoestrings, and all of a sudden, we made them plain white or plain black shoes look good. Right. Then all of a sudden, we get a green shoe, put orange strings, or orange shoe with green strings. And all of a sudden, it becomes like now they calling them, I'm hearing my kids, they call them Chuck Taylors, or they calling them Chucks. Right. At $14.99, this was a basketball sneaker. They $60, $70. Right. For just these Converse All-Stars. And that's not the Nike. That's not the Nike brand, which, oh my God, you get into the Nike or you get into the Air Jordans. I've seen prices of $150. And people say that's cheap. $200. Certain ones come in a box, $400. Some people don't even wear them. They keep them and they come out of next season. And what are they worth? But see, we are the ones that propelled that out. We branded that. Everybody is now spending money on it. But we as a people, we not profiting because that's not coming back into the hood where it came from.
I mean, just thinking about that, I know my son, and I don't know what the Air Force Ones, is the Air Force Ones? Okay. he has this thing that he don't want the shoe to even crease. He don't want to bend his feet. It's like, boy, if you don't bend your foot. I remember Air Force Ones way back in the days. They weren't all that. But to your point, we talk about shoe brands, cars. We talk about different products. We saved the Cadillac.
Yes.
We saved Pepsi Cola. We saved all these companies. They came to us at the last moment, and we saved these companies. But a lot of them ain't pouring back into our communities like you alluded to, as they should. Because if we save if we save Cadillac and we save Pepsi and all these different brands, y'all should be pouring more back into the community. Our community shouldn't be an underserved community. It should be a served community. You want to speak on that, Ezekiel?
Most definitely, because again, if we are prompting these companies up and with an influx of cash from buying their products, then they should compensate us by coming back and beginning to improve our community. And in doing that right there, that'll give us an affinity to want to spend more money with them right there, because we can see that it's benefiting from it. But if you just taking our dollars and blowing yourself up and ain't giving nothing back to us, then we're going to begin to switch brands. We're no longer going to promote you, advertise for you, or buy your product. So now, we who was once your saviors, we're removing ourselves. So when your company go on the downstream again, you can't come to us and look for us to pick you back up.
Hey. All right. That being said, we're going to move to our next question here. It's centered around luxury. Are luxury purchases a form of empowerment or a financial trap?
Let's think about what luxury is. Luxury is an item that enhances the quality of your life. It's above where you are right now. A luxury product, anything that you deem worth spending a lot of money on, as opposed to the average things that you buy. So now, is a luxury going to empower you? Empower you means that I'm elevating you. I'm putting you in a better position in life. So if I go out and I buy this Lambo, is that empowering me, or is that Lambo setting me back and putting me in a financial trap? Because now I may not have the money to afford that Lambo, but Hollywood said I need this Lambo to be able to attract a certain caliber female. So I would go and buy these type of exotic clothes, exotic cars, just to have an image that, hey, I am a successful person. So when I pull up on the block and I jump out of this particular automobile dressed with these designer clothes on, the image itself automatically tells people that I've arrived, that I'm successful. And they're going to think that I have money just based off my car alone, or based off of the clothes that I got on alone. They're going to automatically make that assumption that he has some type of wealth, that he's successful at whatever he's doing. So I want this type of success. However, I don't have the skill set that allows me to acquire that type of materialism. So I end up going in debt to be able to purchase this. So I'm balling and shining for a minute, but down the line it's going to cost me because I'm sacrificing my future for the immediate present. And the immediate present, as we know, will fade away quickly. But my debt from financing a $60,000, $70,000 car ain't going nowhere. Now they end up repoing the car. Or I go get this house and I end up getting evicted. So now that spirals over into my character because now my credit is bad, which is going to stop me from being able to get purchases that I may really need. So we have to understand and define luxury as individuals according to our budget. Even though I may want the $300 new LeBron shoes, I'm making minimum wage. That pair of shoes gonna set me back 4-5 months. And then I'm gonna have to sacrifice and not get other things because of that right there that are necessities. So we have to understand that our values have to be in accord with our purchase. We don't get something because we think it's a luxury that'll attract a certain element to us. We have to get it because it's in our budget. If we don't, then now it becomes a noose around our neck. And now it creates stress because how I'm going to pay these bills. And it creates anxiety. Now I need some type of medication to relieve that right there, which is another bill because I need to re-up and refill and get another prescription of this right here. So I'm putting myself in a cycle that will continue to allow me to stay financially debt eternally.
Hey, Brother Minister, you want to chime in on that one?
Oh yeah, the luxury purchases. See, a lot of it is based on impulse or the desire for what you want instead of what you need because of what you see. I've even seen in the projects, it's this huge flat screen television. Either it was an impulse or they had this big sale. This is huge, but the rest of the place is not furnished. There's not groceries for the rest of these kids, but this huge television because you want this luxury purchase, and it's like now you set back. I don't know, like was that groceries where you should and furniture, but it's like those luxury purchases can be a trap because it gives you immediate satisfaction, right, but then reality sets in once you get it.
Right. And I agree. A lot of times, if it's something that you can afford, great. But if it's going to cause you to max out your credit card, I don't think that's a smart.
No.
I don't think that's smart at all. So yeah, we definitely have to be mindful of that. But there is a group of those that are out there that don't have that same mental capacity to be able to think like that because sometimes they have their parents that will buy these products for them. So that's getting a little bit into our next question. What role do influencers play in shaping young people's spending habits? And I want to touch that a little bit because, I'm more of, online social media and things of that nature. And I know my brothers here may not be, but I'm pretty sure they got data when it comes to that. And they may have, children or, nieces, nephews that stay online and always, on TikTok, etc. And then what happens is because these marketing gurus understand that they're online and they always flipping online every day based off of studies, most Gen Zs, they're, every day they're online and they're online maybe, a majority, at least 2 or 3, maybe 10 hours if you was to calculate it up, them being online. So what they decided to do and what they are doing is they're paying influencers. A lot of their marketing dollars are going to influencers. So if you're online on YouTube, what have you, you'll see somebody on there that may have a great following that may be advertising, the sneakers that we was talking about, the shoes, hey, these are some great shoes, or maybe some cologne or something, or some type of product that comes from a big organization that's pouring dollars into these online influencers because they know the Gen X's are online and they're going to be one of the biggest purchasers of these products. And when we're talking about Gen and I said Gen X, I mean Gen Zs. When we're talking about Gen Zs, we're talking about an age from 13 to 28. And we know from 13, at least to 13 to 18, a lot of that income and a lot of the purchases are coming from in the household. It's coming from parents. So when I look at certain studies, like going to Numerator, this is one of the websites here, numerator.com, but it has like 8% of total U.S. household makes up Gen Zers. The amount of that household spending habits like about $16,552 annually. And then the trips, each one of them each trip to the store is like 586 times. And then they spend at least $30 when they go to the store. So these are just stats based off of understanding the Gen Zer, because they are probably the biggest consumer when it comes to that. And then one other thing is I was doing some research around that, just understanding Gen Zers, that's almost a culture by itself. Because think about it, when you came up, we're in the innocent stage as we come up. When you're connecting with, cross cultures, whether it's a white child, a black child, or an Asian child, they don't get really caught up into race. They get caught up in a culture of spending. So like, if they're going to spend, they're going to spend. If they're not going to spend, they're going to talk about it and they're not going to spend. What crosses the lines that crosses when now you go to get into the real world and you start to see how the real world is, and now you identifying your sources of income, and then your sources of income may not be as great as your white counterpart or your Asian counterpart. So now you're spending just as much money as they're spending, but they're making more money than you are. So that's where the issue comes in. That as a Gen Zer, you have to be very conscious of your spending habits at a very early age, because now you put your parents in a bind, and then you set yourself up for failure as you get older, because now your mindset is always to spend. But just getting back to that question, what role do influencers play in shaping young people's spending habits? They play a huge role, because again, our Gen Zers are online every day, and they're looking at different items and things that are enticing them to spend money. So there's a big role that the influencers are playing, and these corporations understand that. So they're pouring money and pouring dollars into these influencers so that they can get them Gen Z dollars.
Back when I was growing up, one of the greatest influences I seen in the neighborhoods was NWA. Because when they came out, starter jackets blowed up because everybody wanted to get a starter jacket. LA Raider hats, the LA King hats, everybody started wearing those right there. So it was the entertainers or the musicians that was influencing the culture. Everybody started wearing their pants sagging because Eazy-E was doing it. So, and when companies went to seeing this right here, now they would take these entertainers, put them on commercials so that they can promote their products. And when we seen our favorite rappers or our favorite entertainers or athletes promoting this particular product, oh, I got to go get me some Gatorade because Mike drank Gatorade.
Right.
I ain't drinking nothing but Gatorade because I want to be like Mike. So we have to be conscious, parents, that when our children are sitting around online or watching television for hours and hours per week, how many commercials are they seeing? And how many of those commercials are driving them to want particular products, so that when they come to you and they say, I want this product, and you like, okay, wow, oh, my favorite rapper got it. Or my favorite actor has it. So if he's got it, I got to have it because I want to be like them. So they're influencing the culture of Gen Z. But it's coming out of the parents' pockets.
Right.
So the parents need to become conscious of, the content that their children are watching and understanding what is influencing them to be able to want the products that they want. And if that product is not in alignment with where plan you have for your child or your budget, you need to explain to your child why we're not getting them $450 pair of Nike. We're not doing that.
And you're absolutely correct, because like I looked up some data on that, is because those influencers you're talking about, companies, they do hire those and they market it. And this from Black Wall Street. They get a breakdown of our spending, and that age group that you're talking about, this was broken down from 18 to 34, but that's that generation. They 35%. That's the largest percent of spending that we do as Black people. And they target it heavily.
Right.
But that group is not making the most money, but they spending more.
Right.
Because then the next group age up, and then the higher ones making more money. But like you say, the parents are funding part of it, and the younger ones on their come up. But it's like that's the highest amount of spending, and they have people targeting it. So they looking at it strictly by the dollars and the percentages. And so they pay those influencers to do it, and then we buy it, and then they reap the rewards.
No, that's some good data, good information. It's very important that we understand this. You oftentimes you're looking on your phone for a certain product, and you so happen to go online, you see they advertising that same product. How does that even add up? So hey, you looked at it, so we're gonna make sure it stay in your face, so you buy it.
Yes,
Correct.
All right. All right, so we're going to move along. Let's go to our next question here. The next question here, go back your way, Minister. Why do advertisers see the Black community as a key to their success?
Actually, with that one, I pulled some data, and because I know we're in the 2025, but because as of 2024, and I know the number is steadily growing, it's like $1.8 trillion. That's with a T, not a B, with a T. That was in 2024. And we spend on hair care, skin care, cosmetics. Then next is media and entertainment. We lead in streaming services like music and TV, Netflix, YouTube, so forth. And then it's the same with digital content like gaming and social media. We're a smaller part of the population, but we account for a disproportionate share of the spending. It's like the advertisers see us as a huge ATM machine with plenty coming out, but very little do they put back in.
Right. And I just say, and I know you probably want to chime in on this as well, but one of the things is because we don't value our dollar as other communities do. In our community, the dollar may not circle one time. So if I'm an advertiser, why not focus on the community that's constantly, dispersing money out, or just giving money out, or just contributing money? Yes, I'm gonna focus on that. Why would I go to a Jewish community where I know the dollar's circulating, 10, 15, 20 times? They're not gonna let that dollar go like that. Why would I go to an Asian community when the same thing is happening? So our community is it's easier to engage with because of the simple fact that we're quick to spend our dollar outside our community. We don't allow it to circulate like that.
Which makes all the sense in the world, because if I own a company and I know I have a graded 89 to 90% chance of you buying my product, definitely not going to target the person that got a 2% chance of buying it. Definitely understanding now why, the alcohol and all the processed food products are targeted toward the Black communities or the lower income communities. And fortunately, we buying these products. And as you said, we have a spending power of almost $2.3 trillion out the gross national product of America. So with that much money, if we will become producers, we would be like 7th, 8th richest nation on earth. That's how much spending power the black community has. But it's going to everybody else's community but our own.
No, like you mentioned, like what we spend, it makes up the GDP of other nations. Other nations, what we spend is black people. What we have, it's equivalent to other nations. Yet, and they running their whole nation, but we not, because other people target it. And it's like, to point that out, it's like, we see how much money that we're making, but when it goes, the culture is, it comes in our community and it goes right back out. Like you pointed out, when it goes in other communities, like the Asian communities and the Jewish communities, their dollars recirculate multiple times in their community and it builds up their community. The money comes in our community and immediately out. And that's why our community never flourishes. Yet everybody else flourishes off of it.
All right. No, that's definitely something that we have to be conscious of. But we just got to get those Gen Zers under control. We can get them under control.
Like I said, Canada's GDP is like 2.3 trillion. That's Canada.
Right. So we making more. We together.
Yes.
we can have our own country.
Exactly. They run their whole. They got a military. They got free. They paid healthcare, not free. It's paid healthcare in their country. We generate that amount of money, yet our communities are in poverty because consumerism.
All right. We're gonna go to the next question here. Is representation in advertising progress or another form of exploitation? I'm gonna take this one. Is it progress, another form of exploitation? I almost believe that it can be both. Progress when we are profiting from it and it benefits our community, not just an individual. Too often individuals are profiting but at the expense of the black community. In my opinion, this is more of exploitation. Like we seen how they threw dollars at O.J. Simpson and a lot of the athletes, yes, they're getting paid to promote your product to sell to our community, but they're getting rich and none of that money is coming back into our community. So yes, it can be progress because we want to cheer and root for somebody that looks like us that's making money, an athlete that's doing well. Oh man, he a billionaire. Jay-Z a billionaire. Whomever else is a billionaire.
Oh yeah, Shaq is on everything now.
He's on everything. How is that benefiting our community? Is it benefiting our community? Becomes the question. Because and I'll say this here just in case somebody watching and say, well, Shaq does this, that, and the other to the community. But what I have seen, a lot of these athletes, their way of giving back to the community is giving to the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if we own the Boys and Girls Club. Last time I checked, that organization is ran by Jim Carrey, I believe. He's matter of fact, I can check in to see.
He's on the board.
He's on the board. He's one of them that's on the board. But I know it's not a black organization that's running that. They may have some centers within our community, and it may allow for some of our black young boys and girls to go there, and they can probably benefit from going there. But the dollars, in my opinion, should go towards organizations that are in the community, that are really giving back to the community, that those kids can truly connect with. But they bring all these resources over to the Boys and Girls Club, Where you have now athletes that's just pouring money into that, and they're okay with that. And they're able to do that, but they're not able to give to an organization like MOP, oh, they won't allow me to do that. But they got lists of where they want you to put your money at. And none of those really are owned by black organizations, unless somebody can tell me something different. But I don't know any of them that are owned like black organizations that are in our community that a lot of these athletes can pour money into and then better help our community. So I would say, yes, it can be progress when it's benefiting our community, but when it's benefiting the individual, it can be exploitation.
Definitely agreeing with that right there, because the individuals are getting wealthy. The community is not. So it's progress due to the fact that 50, 60 years ago, we didn't have entertainers, athletes, or musicians on TV promoting products. So that is progress now, that we can look on the TV and at least see somebody that looks like us. However, if that entertainer is selling malt liquor, if he's selling products that are detrimental to the community, then it's exploitation. He's getting rich, but he's getting rich off the back of his people. And in doing that right there, you're becoming an enemy to your people, because you're promoting a product that's being the downfall of your people. And many of them may not even know that the product that they are advertising may be having an adverse effect on the community. They just know that, hey man, these people want me to be the spokesperson for them, and they talking about cutting this check or this amount of money. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get right up here and drink Pepsi all day, or whatever product it is. And unfortunately, that's the case.
And then in some cases, they'll give back, even if they want us to go and give small back so they can give something to some schools, or if they came up from sports. But the point that you bring up, it's a great thing when it comes to drinking and alcohol. Now, you see ABC Fine Wine and Spirits in more affluent areas, but you see liquor stores, and you see numerous liquor stores in our community all the time, because that's what's being promoted and pushed. And if we're doing more drinking, that's not a benefit for our community, because that's really, see, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits is supposed to be for you to do social. But if somebody was to go do the research on the alcoholism and the liquor stores in our community, usually people are drinking because a lot of them are drinking because they trying to escape, and you drinking to get away, and you drinking because you got to deal with reality.
Right.
So that's exploitation. That's not profiting us.
Right. That's right on point. Which leads us into our next question here. And I'm gonna point this one your way, Ezekiel. What does flex culture say about our collective value?
Well, I want to start off this right here for the people to get a clear understanding of what flexing means. You know, back in my day, it was stunting. Flexing now is showing the strength of. So when I come out and I have a particular car, I'm dressed a particular way, I'm flexing. I'm showing you that, yeah, I got it. I'm the man. I'm him. So when you see me coming out like that right there, I want you to acknowledge that. I want the kudos and the accolades that, yeah, I've arrived. So with that right there, what is that saying about the value system that will make me give you the kudos because you're driving a BM or a Benz or a Bugatti? Why would I give you that honor? What have you done to earn that honor from me? Am I giving it to you just because you pull up in it? It could be a rental car. It could be your cousin car. It could be your homeboy car. You could stole a car.
Right.
So just because you in the car don't mean you did what was necessary to acquire the car. And our value system is we are placing such high value just on the materialism of the car. So instead of me working to get a car, let's just say like a Hyundai or something that has one of the greatest reliabilities out of all cars, and it's within most people's budget, I'm going to go outside that because I want to flex. When I pull up, I don't want to be in no regular Honda or no regular Toyota. I need to pull up in something that's going to wow the people, that's going to amaze the people, that's going to garner all the attention of the people. And we ended up, as we said earlier, going in debt doing that right there. So they financing this 15, 20,000 Corolla that can last me 10 or 15 years. I'm going out here and I'm getting this Scat Pack. I'm finna get this Porsche or this Lexus right here, because when I pull up, everybody, all eyes gonna be on me. So our cultural values now have descended so low that we place a greater value on materialism than the mindset of the person behind the materialism. And in doing that right there, as we said earlier, we put ourselves on a revolving axis to acquire materialism just so that people can say, I got it. You know, back in the day, it used to be like showing up for the Joneses or trying to keep up with the Joneses. Because as you said, your skill set allow you to make $40 an hour where I'm making $15 an hour, but I want to drive the same stuff you have. I want to wear the same type of clothes you have, but I'm not in the same financial bracket as you. But I was willing to max out all the cars that I got to make sure when you get that new car, I get that new car. And I don't care if 1, 2, 3 years down the line, I didn't sacrifice everything to get this car, or they come back and even repo the car. Because I knew I couldn't keep up with the payments on the car. But I needed to flex. I needed to show that I got it. I needed to show this is my strength. And it says a lot that your value system is predicated on the materialism that you have. Because when we look at the affluent communities, the average, what we deem rich people, they don't walk around with the designer car. They don't walk around with the Bugattis and all of that right there. They have average cars or trucks and all that right there because they understand, let me pour my money into land. Let me pour it into resources. Let me pour my money into things that are going to appreciate over time. We of the flex culture pour our money into things that as soon as we drive it off the lot, it depreciates.
Right.
These clothes, they hot now, but this outfit gonna be out of style within weeks or months because a new style then came out right there. So we investing in that which is constantly depreciating instead of that which is acquiring value over time. But we have to get out of that mindset. And if we don't get out of that mindset, we continue to build projects for us to live in, because now we need Uncle Sam to come pay our bills.
Yes, sir.
And that's real. That point about the flex culture, what they drive. I've worked for and found that a lot of millionaires, they may not be multi-millionaires, but they millionaires. Most of them own a Ford F-150 pickup. That's what they be driving. They F-150. They call they get their wife a Mercedes,
right?
But they drive around in their Ford and their F-150. But they're a millionaire because their values is in their home has value, or the business they own, or the businesses they own is where their value is. So they okay driving around in there. It's a nice F-150, but it's just a pickup. But see, that ain't no Bugatti. In our mind, to be rich, you got to be in that BMW it's got to be the maximum one they have.
Right.
You pull it up next to this guy, he in a F-150. But his bank account is deep. Yours is all on them four wheels because we place the value in things rather than being into the man. Like you really have to place more value on stuff intrinsically that's important, and then the materialism come. We want to get the materialism and miss all the other things that come along with that.
Almost like we say you fake it till you make it. At this point in time, you fake it instead of trying to make it. You just want to fake it.
Or because of who you are, values, you're faking. Only going to be
right.
You never make it because you're in that debt trap. And we don't have a budget. We're not financial literacy able to come out of that, even if we fall in it. Our values definitely alter. We want to come up as people.
Indeed. All right. So we're going to cap this part of our discussion off with this question here. How do we redefine success without the pressure of materialism? I'm going to take this.
Oh, that's simple. Remember, success is like beauty. It's in the eyes of the beholder. I'm successful if I sit down and I acquire all the goals that I set for me. And those goals are not predicated again on materialism, because materialism is just the acquisition of what comes with building my mind. And materialism doesn't define me. As we just saying, most rich people don't have a lot of the basic materialism things that the lower class think they need to show that they're rich. So you have to just alter the value system and stop allowing our children to think that you have to have, life is all about acquiring money or getting to the bag so you can get the materialism as soon as you get the bag. You look at a lot of our people that in the streets, when they get the bag and they constantly are getting the bag, now when they get captured, the materialism that they got with the bag, the clothes, the cars and all that, they got to start to sell that at half price to get lawyer money now. So it didn't last. But if they would have got a house, if they would have took that money and invested in some type of business right here, then that money would have been able to turn over in his axis. So even if I had to get captured, I got canteen money long as I'm there, because I'm getting a check from this laundromat that I opened up, or this car wash that I started, or I went and got 3 or 4 of these sisters in the neighborhood that do hair, and I invested and got them a beauty salon. So we have to be able to understand that materialism is great. That's what it's there for. But we have to have a way to acquire that without putting ourselves in a financial debt situation.
Well, yeah, I think that it goes to redefining successes. You have to be able to understand it's not all about materialism, but success could be knowledge or having a proper education, so you can get the right income by having the right skill set. Success should be defined about how many young men, or it could be young women, that I reach out to and help them on their journey so that they can start their life out without going into the debt trap or being caught up into materialism. Success could be defined on success means, do I have a successful family? Are we happy and are we peaceful? See, if success should not only be based on materialism, because then you will do anything for materialism, for material items fade away. And then you have to turn around and get more material items. So is that really success? Because if it fades away, it's not. Like, gold is a beautiful thing. It's expensive and it'll last. But if you got to always go after something shiny, and most things shiny, like everybody want to have a nice car. But as soon as you drive the new one off the lot, it derates its value. So is that really success? Most people, wealthy people say, I don't want to do that unless I'm going to pay cash because I just don't want to lose it. We have to redefine what success is. Like, especially this time of the year, is success getting in debt so that I can give my children things, and my wife or my husband or my significant other things that we're going to be paying on for the next 11 or 12 months. That shouldn't be defined as success.
I think that kind of boils down to the mindset as well, because like you said, sometimes when it comes to whether it's the spouse, whether it's the man or the woman, when they don't have, I'm gonna just say, priorities in place, like you may be conditioned to be conscious of your spending, where your wife may say, I want that diamond ring, but that diamond ring ain't in our budget. I don't care, it's not in our budget. I want that diamond ring. She want to be happy. I always say, the saying is happy wife, happy life. I said, well, if I can't be happy along with you, I mean, how are we going to have a happy life? Both of us have to be happy. But I think it just boils down to, it starts with creativity and reinvesting back into ourselves. We have to get back to our creative ability. to begin to create ourselves, and then just reinvesting back into that. Because the more we pour back into ourselves, the more prosperous we become. The ideal of success, like you brothers both alluded to, which was beautiful. The ideal of success is having all the material items out there. You know, like you say, having the nicest car, having, you know, the nicest, you know, whatever it may be. But we all know when you're smart and you did your research, we all know that all that stuff, man, depreciate. There's no value, no true value in that. Like going back to what you're saying, a lot of in rich communities, they don't dress as if they're rich. I used to see people come into my computer store back in the days, and you seen, you know, a guy, you know, a pastor coming there dressed all up, suited up. Oh man, he finna buy a whole bunch of computers. Write me a bad check. The check bounced. I said, this joker. A white guy coming there, look, poor as all outdoors. His check clear. Bought 2 or 3 computers. Don't care about the image and what he's wearing. But we do. But we're faking it until we're making it. We're faking it and we're never going to make it because we're getting ourselves in debt and things that we should be getting ourselves into. So we're never going to make it. But we look good. We look good in the process. But is that actually bringing about the success that we need to be engaged in as a community? So to both of your points, beautiful points, I hope our audience are able to truly receive that. But at this time, that was our last question for this episode on that main topic. We're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to see what's on our brother Ike Ezekiel's mind.
Because Scott & Associates always treats me like family, I refer my family to them. So when preparing for my taxes and I know exactly what to bring in coming in, it makes the process so much easier. Anyone should hire Scott & Associates because they are professional, respectful, and very knowledgeable. And with all of my heart, I can always count on them.
At NOY Store, we bring culture, style, and wellness all in one place. Explore our collection of cultural apparel designed to inspire and connect. From t-shirts to polos, boldly tell your story. Need guidance on your journey? Check out our books written to inspire and support your spiritual, personal, and community growth. And give your body the care it deserves with our health and wellness products like natural toothpaste, soothing body butters, and more. We're always adding new products to empower your life so you can live with purpose and style. Visit NOYstore.com today, where culture, wellness, and inspiration come together. Shop at NOYstore.com.
All right, so this is the part of the program where we shift gears a little bit and we find out what's on our brother Ezekiel's mind.
Well, as we know, over the last couple of months, our government has shut down on us. And we want to get on to one aspect of how that shutdown is affecting millions of people. And that's concerning our EBT card, the SNAP program, better known as the food stamps.
Yes, sir.
And now, all the community people that I've ran into, they are into frantic. I mean, they're in a fervor about what are they going to do once these stamps are not put out. The government has already proposed to cut it in half or shut it down, period. And with that being said, what is the effect of that? You have a 4-5 children household that's getting $600-$700 or better a month on this EBT. Now they don't have the money, or they only getting half the money. So what is the parent going to do? because without that money, that means no food. Now we know the effect of humanity having no food. A starving person will begin to do things they wouldn't normally do. So when you don't have enough food, then you have a few options. One, you will have to start skipping meals. So instead of eating 2-3 times a day, you may only eat once a day or once every other day. How does that affect children? How does no food affect them when they sitting up in the class? Can they focus when they hungry? Of course not. They thinking about where their next meal gonna come from.
Right.
They're not thinking about what their teachers up there trying to pour into them on whatever subject matter that class is on that particular day. So we have to look at the effect of this right here. When you have less food in your household, then you have to go outside of your household to acquire it. That means going to local food pantries. That means going to local churches, hoping that they're giving out. So now what are you doing? When you got a mass amount of people that's lacking food, now you're straining the food pantries because they may not have enough food for the communities. The churches may not have enough food for the communities. Now, what is that doing to the people? Because most people are going to think that, hey, man, you're a church. You should have stocked up for this. You saw this coming. Now it may produce anger or irateness toward the church, which means now I don't want to go to church because you can't even provide for my most basic need. I need food to be able to survive, and you can't help me with that right there. So what do I need you for? So it may begin to leave a bad taste for them toward the religious communities. And then also you're looking at how it affecting the small businesses, because most of those SNAP program dollars go into businesses. People are buying the food. So now if they don't got money, now these businesses are not being able to get the consumers that they need to run their businesses. So now businesses may begin to go out of business, or they may have to begin to lay people off from the business. I might have had a small business with 8-9 employees, but since now 50 or 60% of my customers are no longer available, I got to let 2 or 3 of these employees go. How is that affecting their families who was depending on them as the breadwinners? So we're looking at the snowball effect or the avalanche effect of the government cutting back on this SNAP program. And again, education-wise, these children can't focus in school when their tummies are growling constantly. Right. They're going to be looking for their next meal, which may lead them to snatch snacks off of somebody else, lunch tray or out of somebody else's backpack. Now you put them in a position to go down a wrong path at a very young age, and it's only because they're trying to eat. You're looking at the social services. How does it affect the social aspect of it? These social service companies now being flooded with phone calls that, hey, man, I need help, I need help, I need help. And now they don't have the resources to give everybody help. And now these families are looking at, why did this neighborhood get help and our neighborhood didn't get help? So again, it's creating a type of envy or maliciousness toward other neighborhoods that they feel are getting the help and the resources that they think they need.
No, that's some great points that you point out. Because one of the things you mentioned, we have to go all the way back to the neighborhood grocery store. Based off of research, most like grocery stores, they capture about 42% of SNAP income. So you take that income from that store. Now what happens then? Like now you probably laying some people off because now you don't have the income that's coming in, the revenue that's coming in to keep people employed. So when we make these type of moves, we have to really look at the data from that standpoint. Who is this going to affect? Definitely our children. We say our children are the future, then we need to make sure that our children are getting the necessary resources that they need to be the best that they can be in the classroom. We're behind every country when it comes to education. So we want our children to be at the ultimate, the best they can be to receive the information that's being dispersed to them. So when it comes to food, the food is the main resource out there that we live off of. You know, and you know, I would say this here. I mean, some of the, and I'm thinking they're going to be changing how, you know, you can go out and purchase food with the SNAP card. I heard there was going to be some changes about that because some of our eating habits ain't the best eating habits. However, I think as we narrow that down, that now we can give our children, you know, more clean food and good foods. I think they can learn better. They don't have to get up, take all these medicines. I think that's one of the issue when it comes with to our children when they talk about them being, you know, hyperactive and they can't learn. Like a lot of, you know, I hear a lot of data on that. I think it comes from the foods, you know, and I think as we, even with the SNAP, because I know a lot of the parents get the SNAP benefits, I think we have to identify what foods that are going to be more beneficial to our children growth educationally. And so we have to just be mindful of those type of things. But SNAP benefits are very, very important.
Yeah, that's major because it goes into what we were talking about with the show about the value system, because that was something that was cut off immediately. Last month you had it, but oh no, now it's not. It should make you rethink about value system, about what's important, like how important food really is. Like consider the other lifestyle choices that you're making. And look how important food becomes a part of that lifestyle choice. So it should cause you to have a different value system of the food. Like you're saying, with kid goes to school hungry, they're definitely not going to function. And if they're eating overly processed and foods that aren't good for them, that's also going to have an effect. But you really have to be mindful of the value of that food. That's not being taken away. Should be a wake-up call of how valuable that is. Because I've seen the churches, the food banks, the ones that I passed, they stretched to capacity. I saw lines that were like quadruple what they were in the past. And it's like, those food banks and pantries don't have so much food. That's supposed to be an addition to what you're getting. It's not supposed to be all.
One of the things that's really relevant about that right there is when you're on SNAP and you're getting food, most the stats show is that they're getting low quality food so they can get a bigger volume. You have this woman with 3 or 4 children, she can't get, you know, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables because of the price. They would only have enough meals for a week or two. They wouldn't make it through the month. So she's forced to get the low quality food that leads to the obesity, that leads to the diabetes, that leads to the ADD and all these other diseases that's being found in the children at a very young age due to the quality of food that they're eating. So even though the SNAP is a great program in helping single parents to be able to put food on their table, the bipolar opposite of that is the quality of food that's being put on the table is detrimental to the health of the child physically as well as mentally, because we know the effects of certain foods, you know, the white sugar, what it does to the brain. We understand what it does to the blood system. And most of the products that SNAP is able to purchase are full of sugar. And this is where the hyperactiveness come from. And now they put your child on some type of medication saying he's too hyper. But it's no, he don't need the medication. He needs a change of his diet. And then most of us are not even conscious of the diet in the lower communities. We don't have time to study gastronomy, understanding the science of how to eat. We ain't got time for that right there. We just need to put something, as long as it can go in that microwave or go in that stove right quick and feed our bellies. We're not understanding the quality of it and the correlation between what you eat and how you think, or how it affects your health overall. And as you said earlier, by them cutting this, it should have made these single parents think, I need to come up with another source of income, because this ain't always guaranteed. And this is what I believe the government is trying to show the people that's on these programs that, hey, you need to get up and start working, especially if you're able-bodied. Don't just sit back and think that we supposed to take care of you. You grown. You need to take care of yourself. And I hope that's the lesson that the single parents was getting from this particular critical situation that has occurred with our government.
Right. No, that's true. I mean, we have to, that's why I talked about before, we have to become creators and we have to create for ourselves, because we, right now, having that type of dependent mindset only puts us in a situation that's going to be detrimental to our progress in life. So we have to change that mindset. So if something like that was to happen, like, okay, I got other streams of income that I can, tap into so that I can keep everything going like it needs to be going. Otherwise, you just dependent. And yes, we do have food pantries and things of that nature, and bless their hearts, those out there that are volunteering and doing a lot of those type of things. But even from some of those foods, we don't know, like, what is some of the food, it's going to fill your belly and you may be able to eat. But we just have to be mindful of the foods that we intake into our body at the same time.
And while we talk about SNAP, just to make that really important, because yes, I think it's really important that that's a program that we should fund. If we pay taxes, we should fund it. One of the problems with it is people like to call SNAP, they like to throw it into a welfare bucket, and then they want to, it unfortunately gets colored generally against our people to make it look like got a black mother with a whole bunch of kids is receiving the benefits when the majority of welfare recipients in this country are white. We're not the majority, and white people need help too. I'm not saying that, but they put a stigma to make it appear that it's for some reason, it's a black mom that's got 12 kids from 12 different daddies, and that's what welfare is for, when the majority of recipients are white, and we are a high percentage. Now, but disproportionately, poverty is amongst us because of the stuff we talking about, the way they target us and we spend our money. But everybody needs those benefits. But then the reason they don't want to fund it is because it looks like it helps black people who don't need it, when oftentimes it's not even single parent. You got 2-parent homes with kids that need those benefits. And they like to color us as if we're negativity, when that's totally not.
And simple math can tell you that right there. You only make up 10 or 12% of the population of America. So if white America is the mass majority of people in America, then the mass majority of them are right at or below the poverty line. So they are the ones. The SNAP program was originally created for them. Wasn't created for us. When you look at,
but it's got a black face.
It's got a black face on it now because, they're targeting us and making us the poster child for this right here. So as I think, to make two things happen. One, the poor whites or the middle class whites to step up, and two, just to keep everybody else with their foot on our neck, because they saying, look at them. They able-bodied, but they just want us to take care of us. They just want to stay the lame people. So we got to step up. Got to step up.
That time, where we at? Okay. All right. Anything else on this topic? We'll get ready to close out.
Yeah, I would like to add one thing. With this SNAP program, when it's cut off, the first thing it did was create stress and anxiety in those, because they was wondering where and how they was going to replace the money that the government was not going to give them right there. So that led to a lot of mental pressure being placed on people right there, because now they went from one frame of mind, now they in strictly survival mode. And when you're operating out of survival mode, it's hard to get back into flourishing and thriving mode, because you don't know where that next meal gonna come from. And it's setting the stage for people to start doing anything. When you hungry, your morals go out the door. Your value system just is gone. because you're going to do what it takes to survive. And survive means I got to go kick in the door at Walmart, and Walmart was prepared for this.
Yes.
So that's why they said for this time frame, there will be no more coming in their stores. Everything is online. You got to shop online because they knew that we was finna be running up out of there with buggies and buggies and buggies and buggies. You don't catch me if you can.
Nobody going past
you know
the
what I'm
cameras.
saying? Right, because at least if I go to jail, I'm getting 3 meals.
Yeah.
I ain't getting nothing out here, so I'm gonna take that chance.
Yeah. But I think our government has to look at that as well, because you put people in those type of situations. So to your point, and maybe their mindset is we want to take people off of welfare. We don't want people to be on welfare. And that might be so, but while people are on there, they're already dependent and they have a dependent mindset.
Correct.
So that's something you have to work with before even getting to that point. They're forcing them off of welfare.
That's why you got to be really conscious. It's not conspiracies, but why do you want the National Guard not to come in? Because now you putting people into a situation, and now you putting resources prepared to go lock them up in a different form of prison.
Right. All right, brothers, that music that came on, so we're going to get ready to close out. Which way we go?
All right. I hope everybody was able to glean some good information from this show today and apply it in their life. And for those that are on the snap, get you a plan B.
Yeah, going into this season, and I don't personally celebrate the holidays, but put your value around your thing that's important around your family. Put your values around what's important.
Right. And stay tuned to our next show, because we're going to keep it going. We're going to talk a little bit more about this as we go and close out this year. But I want to leave you with this here. We have spent generations buying into an image that was never made for us. Maybe real power begins when we stop chasing how we look and start investing in who we are. So that's something I want to leave with you. And I say from the host, Peace and Prosperity, and from Live Talk, we are out.
Thank you for watching Live Talk. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Talk Orlando. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit on the notification button so that you can see more videos like this. You want to join the show? Email us at livetalkorl@gmail.com. You can also follow the host on Facebook and Instagram at Arthur Jeremiah. And visit the website, thenoystore.com, to pick up your copy of The Spiritual Significance of a Name.